Now, we sought an interview with the Lord Mayor of Newcastle. He declined until after ICAC's findings. Earlier today, I spoke with Toole, the Minister for Local Government, who's in Bathurst. Minister, thanks for talking to us. What was your reaction when you saw Councillor McCloy's evidence at ICAC?
Well, I think the revelations that have come out of ICAC this week have been both very disturbing and shocking for people across New South Wales. New South Wales deserves better. And I know the Premier of New South Wales and myself have made it very clear that we expect those elected representatives in positions of authority to act in the interests of the communities that they represent.
What about Councillor McCloy?
Well, we are hearing a number of allegations that are coming out against the Lord Mayor, and I've made it very clear to him that he needs to consider his position. He needs to consider his position in the interests of the people of Newcastle that he represents. Those people expect the highest standards, and so do we here in New South Wales.
Is it appropriate for a local government leader who admits to having failed to disclose donations he now claims to be legal to remain in high office?
Well, Quentin, there is a due process that must be followed. In this process, I have to say that even as the Local Government Minister, I have specific and limited powers when it comes to acting upon councillors. Now, in this situation, for those powers to be acted upon, we must see that a finding must come out of ICAC.
But he's admitted he did not declare. I know he says the donations were legal. They didn't come from the development accounts he was running, but he admitted he did not disclose them. That's an obligation under the Election Funding and Disclosures Act, isn't it?
Well, we are seeking legal advice, Quentin, and I have to say we are continually monitoring ICAC from day to day. We are also following up with statements that have been made and seeking legal opinion. I have to say, though, it is talking about an admission that is being given about serious misconduct. Now, in this case, what we are seeing is some of the allegations that have been put forward about prohibited donors actually occurred before Mr McCloy was the Lord Mayor. So we are continuing to follow that up.
OK, you want to be procedurally fair to him, but you're the Minister, you run the Act, you've said it publicly, but have you telephoned Councillor McCloy to relay your position to him?
Well, I think Mr McCloy's heard it very loud and clear. He hasn't heard it just from me. It's been in the New South Wales Parliament this week. There's been plenty of media attention. I even read about it in his local newspaper. I think he knows my thoughts about what his position should be at this point in time. And it's not just me, it's the interests of the community of Newcastle and those residents who can feel very let down. Now, he has the opportunity to stand aside whilst these ICAC findings are being looked at, and it might be the honourable thing for him to do at this point.
We live in a democracy. You're not opposed to property developers standing for local government, are you?
Look, I think we need to make sure that we get the right people. It's about making sure the right representation is on local government, ensuring that we have the strongest representation and those people who are going to serve the interests of those in their community that they represent.
Minister, on the City of Sydney changes, your government is supporting a Shooters and Fishers Party bill to enfranchise business operators in the City of Sydney. Clover Moore, the Lord Mayor, says this amounts to a gerrymander. Why are you doing this?
Well, let's be very clear, Quentin. Businesses have always had the opportunity to vote in the City of Sydney elections. What we are seeing here is a bill that has been put on by the Shooters and Fishers, and this is actually giving businesses the opportunity to be automatically put on the roll. Even Clover Moore has actually made statements to say that more needs to be done to encourage businesses to vote. I've heard it from the independent member about wanting to encourage businesses to have a greater say in local government elections in the City of Sydney.
But she says 65% of business owners are already resident and registered to vote in the Sydney LGA. That gives them 2 votes. How is that fair?
Yeah, but what we're seeing, Quentin, in the past is we've actually seen the roll wiped every time there's a local government election. And for those businesses, they can then go and reapply 3 months out from the next City of Sydney local government elections. This will mean that they'll be automatically put on the roll. And let's not forget, when we're talking about the City of Sydney, they have the business community generating about 80% of the city's rate revenue. Now, this is important because they are entitled to also have a say as to how their local government area looks. And I've got to say this to Clover. I've been a former mayor. I know how important it is to represent our communities. And if she's doing a good job, she shouldn't feel afraid. She should feel as though they're going to put her back in to continue to represent them.
And if this gets through, are you going to roll it out across the state?
Well, I think it has to be happening only in the City of Sydney to begin with. I think we need to make sure that it is done properly. We need to assess that, and I have no intentions of rolling it out to other local government areas. The City of Sydney is the first one that we need to look at, and then there could be a possibility in future elections. But it will be assessed very carefully after the 2016 elections.
Paul Toole, thanks very much.
Quentin, thank you.